And if you are looking for the perfect gift for the sports lover in your family, there's this, a new book by somebody you may have read for years here in Northeast Mississippi. Parrish Alford has spent a long time with the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, former sports writer. You used to, I think your last gig was what, covering Ole Miss football?
It was Ole Miss, and actually last couple of years at the Daily Journal serving as columnist. So I was going back and forth between State and Ole Miss and some other places as well.
Three decades with the Journal?
Right at 3 decades, within a couple of months of being 30 years.
And so when you started, the landscape for State and Ole Miss football was what?
It was different. It was Jackie Sherrill at Mississippi State. I actually covered Jackie when I was in Meridian, covered him again up here in Tupelo. It was Billy Brewer at Ole Miss. Then there was an NCAA investigation. There was Joe Lee Dunn as interim head coach, some really different times.
So in your time, actually what, 4 decades newspaper?
Yes, really, of newspaper altogether.
So, and that's what this book is, right? Because, I mean, you spend a lot of time in journalism. You run into a lot of interesting folks and a lot of great stories.
Yeah, it's not so much about great teams and great players. There's some of that in there, okay? But this is really more about people and relationships, coaches and players, and just interesting stories from day to day of getting the stories.
Now, is this like high school, college, a little bit of everything? What?
It's mostly college, okay, because that's where I spent most of my time, but there are some high school stories in here as well. There are some stories, one in particular from the Gulf Coast and a former high school coach down there. Very interesting story about the Moss Point coach, football coach. And, you know, there's an interesting story with Brad Henderson, former Ole Miss baseball player, Tupelo High School before that, and kind of his relationship with Larry Harmon. So, you know, lots of, it covers a lot of ground.
So if you're from Northeast Mississippi and you closely follow sports, my guess is folks are going to recognize a lot of folks in this book, right?
Obviously, they will. Lots of people they'll know. Names they'll be very familiar with.
And by the way, are these, you know, some sports writers, they just do columns and they put them in a book. Did you have to rewrite a lot of this, or is this just...
This was all new writing, new reporting. It's from the memories that I have. I went back, I did research to make sure those memories were still good, or what I thought they were, but this is all new reporting.
And by the way, this book in all the local bookstores, right?
Well, it's at Reed's right now. We're getting it in some other places. It's at Square Books in Oxford. It's available on Amazon as well.
Parrish Alford, great for you to join us and great to talk to you here on Studio 9. Thanks so much for
Thank you, Craig. Great to be here.